Your relationship with Gene Haas is sort of, I mean, it's in the book, but it's not, it's not a takedown by you. It's not you settling a score, is it particularly?
No, that was never my intention. It's just telling the story, in a good way, that people know what how the team was founded, how I came up with the idea, and also how it ended.
Yeah, well, it ended, didn't it, at the cooked meats counter of a supermarket when you get a message telling you that basically you're not going to be needed any longer. I mean, of all the places to find out something that apocalyptic.
Exactly, it was worthwhile to tell that story because, as you say, normally, if somebody doesn't want to extend your contract, normally they call you to the office and say, let's meet up. I was there, or I founded the team 10 years, but in the end it was like, I went and bought my ham and left the supermarket, and ate it in the evening.
You must feel a bit bitter about that, though, don't you? I mean, because as you said, there's a way to do something like that, to end a relationship that significant, that was that important.
Yeah, I'm actually not bitter. I mean, in the end, I was quite because you see things coming, and I now thinking about it, I should have done it earlier. I should have left the team because it wasn't going the way I want to go it. And when you know who you deal with, then your expectations are like this. So you're not even bitter. I mean, it's life. I move on. I mean, I've got good things to do in life. I don't have to be bitter about water under the bridge.
No, sure.
One of the chapters about driver dynamics. I think that is a fascinating thing, isn't it? Because the relationship between the drivers and the teams often is quite strained, isn't it?
Yeah, it's often quite strange because obviously the driver always he's the guy out there in public. He's the guy which is judged. If the team does something wrong, the first to be judged is the driver. So, but it goes both ways. If the team is doing good and the driver is winning, it's down to the driver. So, you cannot have one without the other. But sometimes it gets, get a little bit tense. And then when the team is not happy with the driver, obviously the drivers have a big voice in the public. So he can speak up with, while the team sometimes needs to be a little bit more quiet.
And also, when new drivers come into teams, the dynamic, someone like Lewis, like next season going to Ferrari, and then suddenly, people's noses are put out of joint. You have to manage that, don't you, when you parachute a new driver into a team?
Yeah, absolutely. You have to manage that. And in Lewis's case, I think the good thing is he knows Fred Vasseur, the team principal of Ferrari, since a long time. Drove for Fred when Fred was an owner of a Formula 3 team, and Lewis, when he was a junior, came up to the ranks with Fred Vasseur. So he has got already somebody in there, he trusts, he's a friend, and then it's down to Fred to introduce him to the company. But as I said, obviously, there are a driver like Carlos is leaving. Some people have ties with him, they are friends, and they're not happy that now this guy took away the seat of his mate. And but it's part of Formula One. I think it's part of every sport,
Sure.
It's people coming and going, and who deals best with it will be a winner.
Yeah.
There's been a lot of, we talk about the pressure of drivers, there's been a lot of controversy this season about swearing over the radio that everybody can hear, and Verstappen was very unhappy about it. Well, where do you stand on that?
As someone who likes to swear.
Well, I mean, it's a difficult one because it's a pressurised situation.
Yeah.
And they're using what we call industrial language. But I suppose kids people...
Imagine if they'd said to you, Guenther, that they couldn't have any swearing in Drive to Survive. You've barely been in it.
I wouldn't be in it at all, without the barely, no. What I think, what Max did there at the press conference, he was not swearing at people, he was swearing at the situation of his car, Is it right? Maybe not. But is it wrong? Maybe not. It's one of these things. It happens. And for me, obviously, out at the track, as you say, it's the adrenaline is going. It's when you're going 350 kph down a straight and somebody cuts you off, you're not like, excuse me, could you please do this a little bit different? You say something different, and it's emotions, and the TV bleeps it out anyway. So I think it's, it was overdone a little bit, giving him a penalty that he has to go into social service or whatever he has to do. And now we're all talking about it could have been dealt a lot better with.
I think maybe one of the reasons why this is happening, and this kind of, sanitisation and this fear about the perception of the sport because of the swearing, etc., is down to something like Drive to Survive. We were talking to Will Buxton yesterday, the journalist who said there's a stat out there that 1 in 3 viewers of Formula One have been watching the sport for 5 years or less. They've come to it very late, and it's a kind of becoming a family sport, and et cetera, and this, they want to have a sort of different perception of it. Whereas you say, there will be industrial language in heated moments, as there is in any sport.
Yeah, and I think it was in a lot of sports that is not brought to the public when the industrial language is used, you know. But Drive to Survive obviously brought it out there. I think they were the first to open that door, what actually happened behind the scene.
Sure.
And on the other side, it attracted a lot of new fans. So, you know, it's a fine line. What are you going to do next? And as I said, is swearing the right thing to do? Do I make publicity for it? No. But is it wrong in certain circumstances? I think a lot of people, I wouldn't say all of us do it, but a lot of people use it, and especially people which are not where English like me is not their mother tongue, you know. It's like you learn it from the industrialists, you know, which you work with, you know, and you use it. And but I think it's too much made out of it, in my opinion.
Sure. Okay. The other thing we wanted to talk about was, well, we mentioned Lewis a little bit earlier on. How are you viewing sort of Ferrari, the state of Ferrari at the moment? And do you see this as could we be looking at a very big first season for him, you think?
I think Ferrari in the moment are doing a good job. I think in the moment they are the second fastest team after McLaren. Lewis going there. You never know what is coming next year, but next year will be quite a stable year from this year, because the regulations stay exact the same as this year. And nobody will do big development anymore for next year, because in 26 there's a complete new regulation coming in the sport, new engines, everything is changing. So next year I think it will be almost a status quo of the team performance, and Lewis coming in. I think for him it's a good new challenge, and he needs a little bit of luck that the car is good, and then he will help Ferrari or try Ferrari to get this world championship, which they are chasing since years and years now. So, and it would be, and for sure he wants an A championship to be the champions of the champions, because nobody has done that yet.
Verstappen has been dominant this season,
well,
up to a certain point.
Yes,
you
exactly.
think now that Lando can take it, don't you?
I think Lando can take it. For me, he's the favorite to take it. Obviously, he cannot make any mistakes if he wants to win it. And he needs a little bit the help of Ferrari, I would say, to take points away from Max. I think they need to do that, and they can do. They were the better team in Singapore, but they messed up the quality. Oh, in the race, they were the better team than Red Bull. But in qualifying, they messed qualifying up. Both drivers made mistakes, so they started behind and they couldn't catch Max anymore. But for sure, Max will not let go easily, because Max is very smart, and he will try to become second all the time, or just behind Lando, and then he can still take it home.
Yeah, it's interesting because, as you said, Andy, it was kind of looking like a bit of a procession again, and then suddenly we saw that pickup by McLaren, didn't we, and Lando Norris, and it's become a very exciting season. It needed that, I think, didn't it?
Yeah, everybody was worried after the first 5-6 races. This is again a procession of Max winning another championship, having it won halfway through the season, and then all of a sudden, as you said, everything changed, and we now had 7 different winners, seven different drivers winners, and 4 different teams winners. That didn't happen for a long time in Formula One, so it all opened up, and now I think McLaren has got the upper hand, but I don't think it will be a domination.
Is this because of the ongoing tweaks that they're making to the cars as the season unfolds?
Leaving?
Well, we'll talk about that in a minute. Yeah. But I mean, so yeah, I suppose the question is for people who don't follow Formula One, why can you suddenly see Lando Norris picking up in a McLaren at that stage?
Because with the budget cap in place, everybody's spending the same amount of money. Everyone is able to spend the same amount of money, so nobody can get ahead just by paying more or doing more work. So that was the plan. That was the plan with the budget cap, that the teams get more equal, and that's what is happening. I think it took a little bit longer, but it's still not a long time that the budget cap was introduced. So it was coming. So, and now it just happened, and then once a dominance goes to an end, somebody who was comfortable is under pressure, makes mistakes. That's what happens. I mean, that happens in every sport. Once if you're the leader, if you're safely leading, you don't make a mistake because you're not under pressure. But when you're under pressure, you push yourself further, and mistakes happen easier. And that's what I think happened to Red Bull as well, quite a bit.
Andy mentioned Adrian Newey going to Aston Martin. He was a man in demand. What do you make of that move?
I mean, I think Aston Martin is putting a lot of effort in for the future, for the mid to long-term future. What Lawrence Stroll is doing, I think it's second to none. I mean, if you look at the new facility up in Silverstone, it's fantastic. A new wind tunnel, everything there. And now he got also Adrian. So for sure, for the future, looks very good. But it will be a few years away, because Formula One, you cannot just turn a team around in a year or two. It takes a little bit of time, but Aston Martin put everything in place for the future to go for World Championships.
There are some funny stories in the book, some again behind the scenes stuff, and there is one around Gene Haas as well when it was on a private jet around some baked beans. It's quite. Just briefly tell us that if you can, Guenther.
Yeah, I mean, he had this jet, and we were flying from Austria to Silverstone because back-to-back races, and obviously we didn't have any food on the plane. Catering costs money, so I arranged something to eat. I arranged something to eat from the catering from the team, and when you ask something last minute, we got a tray full of baked beans, on a plane. That's the worst.
That's not good in an enclosed space, is it? Really?
No, I mean, I think we all know that, but it's like I open up this tray and it was baked beans, and it's like, what the hell are we doing with this stuff here? So, and I think I'm pretty sure nobody ate them because they're smelling enough when they're not eaten. Once they're eaten, it's even worse. So, and then we had to bring them. The plan was to bring them to the mechanics the next day to eat in the canteen, and I said, I don't think that will happen.
That's a very good idea.
Oh dear me!
Sounds like money was tight.
Yeah, and finally, you're on tour. As we said, you're on tour around the UK doing these theatre gigs, and you've written a second book. But are you missing it at the moment? You're missing being sort of
eating
in the
baked
central.
beans.
Well, not eat one. I'm sure you'll never miss that. You can have as many baked beans as you like. But the cut and thrust of being involved in a team F1. Would you like to get back in?
Not at all cost. It is something I've done, and when it stopped, I was actually planning to take it a little bit easier for a year or two. And then all these gigs came up to do. Let's do this. Let's write a second book. I'm not good in sitting around doing nothing. But you always try to do it. But I didn't achieve it. But then I thought maybe I will miss it. I actually don't miss it this much because I've done it. And if I want to go back, I want to do something like a project to go the next step. Because becoming 6, 7 to 8. After a while becomes, it's like, I want a little bit more. And if there is a project out there, yes, I'm prepared to speak with it. But just to go and do a job in F1, just to be in it, I've done that. I'm good.
You're in London tomorrow night, but you're more or less sold out. You were telling us all the gigs you're doing; they're all pretty much sold out.
Yeah, most of them up to now they were all sold out. I think the next ones are all, some of them are completely sold out. Some have a little bit of a few tickets left, but it's going good. The tour is going good. I think people enjoy themselves. So they tell me, I hope they tell me the truth, but no, it's going good. It's good fun to travel around the country, and give some people some entertainment.
Excellent. Well, enjoy your time here. Best of luck with the book. Guenther, good to see you again. You're always welcome. So thanks for joining us today.
And thanks for having me. Thank you very much.